All right, so you're an IT pro, and you want to level up your English communication skills.
Well, you've come to the right place.
We're going deep.
That's right.
In this deep dive.
Not just vocab.
Yeah, not just basic vocabulary. We're going to be talking about how to really nail communication in the IT world.
Absolutely.
You know, you can have the most brilliant solution.
Yeah.
But if you can't get your point across,
Exactly.
what good is it, really?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Miscommunication during a software deployment
Right.
could lead to downtime.
Oh, yeah.
A poorly worded email
Oh, yeah.
could damage a client relationship.
Big time.
These are things we want to avoid.
Huge. Yeah. And on the flip side,
Yes.
when communication is clear, effective,
Yes.
projects flow smoothly,
Projects flow smoothly.
problems get solved faster,
Faster.
everyone feels more confident,
More confident.
heard,
Respected. And that translates to better results.
better result,
Happier clients.
happier clients,
More positive work environment.
for everybody.
For everyone. Exactly.
So let's kick things off by talking about some essential IT vocabulary.
Right.
But we're going to go a little bit beyond just, defining terms.
Yeah.
What are some of those phrases
Okay.
that can boost your credibility, help you really navigate those technical conversations?
Mastering certain phrases can really signal to others that you're not just tech savvy,
Right.
but you're also a clear and confident communicator.
That's huge. Yeah.
So using phrases like, for example, based on my analysis.
Oh, I like that.
Or a potential solution could be,
Yes.
shows that you've thought things through.
Uh-huh.
You're prepared to contribute meaningfully
Yes.
to the conversation.
And even simple phrases like, let me clarify, or does that make sense? Can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Everyone's on the same page. Huge.
Yeah, being able to rephrase those technical concepts into simpler terms
Yeah.
is a real valuable skill,
It is.
especially when you're talking with, non-technical colleagues
Right.
or clients.
Especially clients.
It's almost like you have to become a translator,
You're a translator.
bridging that gap
Bridging the gap.
between the
Exactly.
technical and the everyday world.
And that's where simplifying complex concepts becomes really important.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Right.
How do we explain things like cloud computing or network latency
Yes.
without, making people's eyes glaze over?
Right,
Like,
right.
how do we avoid that?
Well, one really effective technique is to ditch the jargon
Oh, okay.
and use analogies.
Analogies, love it.
Analogies can be so powerful
Yeah.
for making abstract technical concepts
Right.
more concrete
Yes,
and relatable.
I like it.
But the key is
Yeah.
to choose analogies that resonate with your audience.
So instead of saying cloud computing is a model for delivering computing services over the internet,
Right.
what would be a better way to explain it?
You could say something like, imagine cloud computing like renting an apartment.
Right.
Instead of buying a house.
Got it.
You get to use the space and resources,
Yeah.
but you don't have to own and maintain the entire infrastructure.
I like that, yeah. Paints a much clearer picture. Helps people really understand the core concept
Yeah.
without getting bogged down in the technical details.
Without all the details, exactly.
And it's something that, anyone can relate to,
Pretty much.
regardless of their technical background.
Exactly.
Now, the same principle applies to network latency.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of talking about, milliseconds and bandwidth,
Right.
you could compare it to...
You could compare it to ordering food
Okay.
at a busy restaurant.
So if the website's loading slowly,
Yeah,
it's like waiting for your food when the kitchen is slammed.
exactly.
Gotcha.
And that kind of analogy helps people understand the impact of the issue
Yeah.
without needing a technical degree.
Without needing to know all the ins and outs.
Right.
But sometimes, even with the best analogies,
Yeah,
we fall into these communication traps.
we do.
What are some common pitfalls
Okay.
that even experienced IT professionals should watch out for?
Well, one pitfall is overusing jargon.
Okay.
Even when we think we're being clear,
Right.
it's so easy to slip into that technical language
Yeah.
without realizing it.
It's like our default.
It's our default,
Right.
especially when we're talking to other tech-savvy people.
Right.
But we got to remember to switch gears
Yeah.
when we're talking to a broader audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Broaden it out.
Another pitfall
Oh.
is not checking for understanding.
Oh, yeah.
We might think we've explained something clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's crucial to make sure the other person actually got it.
So don't just deliver the information and move on.
Right.
Take a moment to say, like, does that make sense? Or do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
So important.
And sometimes we can be too indirect
Too indirect.
with our communication. We might hesitate to, express our opinions directly or make clear recommendations, especially when we're dealing with senior colleagues,
Senior colleagues.
clients, people that we want to.
Higher ups.
Yeah, exactly. But
They
it can be intimidating.
It's important to remember
Yeah.
your expertise is valuable.
Yes.
You have a right to voice your thoughts and suggestions.
Absolutely. And being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive.
No, not at all.
It's about communicating clearly, respectfully,
Respectfully.
even when you have a different perspective.
Even when you have a different perspective.
It's okay to disagree.
It's okay to disagree.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of clear communication,
Yes.
some key vocabulary,
Okay.
common pitfalls to avoid.
Right.
Now let's put it all together with a real-world scenario.
Okay.
Imagine you're an IT professional and you need to report a technical issue to your manager. How would you approach that conversation?
Let's role play this.
Yeah.
I'll be the manager.
Yeah.
You be the IT professional reporting the issue.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So tell me, what's going on with this system?
Okay.
We're getting reports of slow performance.
We're currently experiencing a database issue that's impacting system performance.
All right.
My team is working on identifying the root cause,
Okay.
and we're implementing a temporary fix
All right.
to improve performance in the meantime.
Good, good.
And I'll keep you updated on our progress.
What's the estimated time of resolution?
We expect to have a permanent fix
Okay.
in place within the next 2 hours.
All right.
I'll send out a notification once the issue is fully resolved.
Excellent. Thanks for keeping me in the loop.
You're welcome.
You handled that well.
Thanks.
You were clear, concise.
I tried to be.
You provided a timeline for resolution
Uh-huh.
without overwhelming me with technical details.
Yeah, I tried to focus on the information that was most relevant to you as the manager.
Perfect. Perfect.
Wow.
Now let's switch roles. I'm a developer who's hit a snag with a new software feature,
All right.
and you're my colleague who's going to help me troubleshoot it.
Okay, I'm ready. What seems to be the issue?
Well, I'm working on this new feature
Okay.
that allows users to upload large files,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm running into a problem.
Okay.
The application keeps crashing
Oh.
whenever someone tries to upload a file larger than 500 megabytes.
Okay. Have you checked the system logs for any error messages related to the crashes? And also, have you tried testing the upload functionality with smaller files just to kind of isolate the issue?
Good point. I haven't looked at the logs yet,
Okay.
and smaller files seem to upload without a problem.
All right, so it seems like the issue is specific to larger files.
Yeah.
Could it be a memory allocation problem? Larger files require more memory to process. It's possible that the application is hitting a limit.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at the memory usage during the upload process.
Great. We can also review the code together and see if there's anything that might be causing a bottleneck when handling those large files.
Thanks. I appreciate the help.
No problem at all.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Absolutely.
And notice how in both of these scenarios, we kept the language clear,
Yeah,
jargon-free.
we did.
We were able to communicate effectively without resorting to all those technical terms that might have confused the other person.
Right, and we remembered to check for understanding.
Yes.
Provide clear timelines
Yes.
that helps to build trust and manage expectations.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how those seemingly small things, checking for understanding, setting those clear expectations, can have such a big impact on communication.
And these skills are valuable not just for reporting issues, but for all sorts of IT communication.
Oh, yeah.
Team meetings, client presentations.
So let's dive into another common scenario.
Okay.
Explaining a complex technical concept
Yeah.
to a non-technical audience.
Right.
Let's say you're tasked with explaining what a sandbox environment is
Okay.
to a client who's not very tech savvy.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
That's a situation a lot of IT professionals find themselves in.
All the time. Yeah.
And it's where those analogy skills
Yes.
really come in handy.
They're so helpful.
Instead of jumping into all that technical jargon,
Right.
think about how to connect the concept to something the client already understands.
So instead of saying a sandbox environment is an isolated testing environment that allows you to run programs or execute files without affecting the application, system, or data.
Right, right.
How can we simplify that?
You could say something like,
Okay.
think of a sandbox environment, like a playground for your software.
I like that.
It's a safe space
Yeah.
where you can experiment, Test things out
Yeah.
without worrying about breaking anything in the real world.
Perfect. That makes it so much easier to grasp. It takes something that sounds kind of intimidating
Yeah.
and makes it relatable, even a little fun.
A little bit of fun.
Yeah, I like it.
And that's the power of a well-chosen analogy.
It really is.
It can bridge that understanding gap.
Yes.
Make those complex topics click for anyone.
But analogies are just one tool in the
Yeah.
communication toolbox.
Yeah.
What are some other strategies that we can use
Sure.
to break down those technical concepts
Right.
for those non-technical audiences?
Well, another important strategy is to break down the information
Okay.
into smaller, more digestible chunks.
Bite-sized pieces.
Bite-sized pieces, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of overwhelming someone with a wall of technical details.
Right.
Start with the big picture,
Okay.
then gradually introduce more specific information.
So kind of like building a house.
Yes,
You start with the foundation.
the foundation.
Then you add those layers one by one.
Exactly.
And as you're explaining things,
Yeah.
pay attention to the other person's body language,
Body language.
facial expressions.
Facial expressions, yes.
Are they following along?
Are they engaged?
Do they look confused?
Those are great cues.
It's like a feedback loop
It is a feedback loop
to help us adjust our communication.
in real time.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Yes.
Does that make sense so far?
Does that make sense?
Or is there anything you'd like me to clarify?
So important.
It can make a huge difference.
Huge.
Now let's talk about active listening.
Active listening.
It's such a superpower.
Oh, it is.
Especially in IT, where clear communication is so crucial.
Absolutely.
But what does that actually look like in practice?
It's about more than just hearing the words
Okay.
someone is saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's about fully engaging
Yeah.
with the speaker, paying attention to their nonverbal cues,
Right.
making an effort to really understand their perspective.
So putting on our listening hats.
Listening hats on,
Yeah.
tuning into what's being said, both verbally and nonverbally.
One way to demonstrate that you're actively listening
Yes,
is to paraphrase what the speaker has said.
that's a good one.
You can say something like, so what I'm hearing is, or if I understand correctly, you're saying,
That's like holding up a mirror
yes.
to make sure you're reflecting their message accurately.
And it gives the speaker an opportunity to clarify,
To clarify.
correct any misunderstandings.
Correct any misunderstandings.
And
Exactly.
that shows that you genuinely care
Don't care.
about what they have to say,
Absolutely.
which can go a long way in building trust and rapport.
It can.
Another important aspect of active listening
Yes.
is asking clarifying questions.
Clarifying questions, so important.
It shows that you're paying attention.
They're paying attention.
You're interested in digging deeper.
Interested.
So instead of just like nodding along,
Uh-huh.
ask questions like, could you elaborate on that? Or can you give me an example?
Give me an example.
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions can help you uncover valuable information, insights.
It can also help to slow down the conversation.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone's on the same page.
On the same page.
Sometimes when we're talking about technical things,
Right.
it's easy to get caught up in the details
In the weeds.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
The big picture, exactly.
Active listening can help bring that focus back.
Bring it back.
Speaking of solutions,
Say.
let's talk about giving and receiving feedback.
Feedback. Yes.
In the IT world, we're constantly working on projects,
Well,
collaborating with colleagues,
collaborating.
interacting with clients,
Interacting with clients.
and feedback is essential for
Essen-
growth and improvement.
But giving and receiving feedback effectively
Yeah,
can be tricky,
it can be.
especially when it comes to sensitive or technical topics.
So let's start with giving feedback.
Right.
What are some tips for delivering feedback in a way that is constructive and helpful
Okay.
rather than, critical or demoralizing?
Right.
How do we avoid that?
Well, one important principle is to focus on the behavior
Okay.
or the situation
Uh-huh.
rather than the person.
The person, right.
So instead of saying, you're always late with your reports,
Right.
you could say, I noticed that the report was submitted 2 days past the deadline.
That's a great example.
Right.
It takes the focus off of the person
Off the person.
and puts it on the specific issue.
The issue.
And when you're giving feedback, it's important to be specific.
Defined example.
So instead of saying, your communication skills need work,
Right.
you could say, during the presentation, you used a lot of technical jargon that the client didn't understand. Maybe next time we could work together to simplify the language.
Much more helpful.
Much more helpful, right?
Actionable.
It gives the person something concrete to work with.
Something to work with.
And when you're delivering feedback, remember to be respectful,
Respectful.
empathetic.
Empathetic.
Put yourself in the other person's shoes.
In their shoes.
Try to understand their perspective.
It's about creating a safe space
Yes.
for open and honest communication.
Now, let's talk about receiving feedback.
Receiving feedback.
It's not always easy to hear criticism,
No.
even when it's well-intentioned.
Even when it's well-intentioned.
But it's important to remember that feedback is a gift.
It is a gift.
It's an opportunity for growth.
For growth, exactly.
So when you're receiving feedback, try to listen with an open mind.
Open mind.
Avoid getting defensive.
Avoid getting defensive.
It's easy to feel attacked when someone's critiquing our work.
It is.
But, try to remember they're usually trying to help us improve.
They're trying to help.
And if you're not sure what the feedback means,
Yes.
don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
Ask for clarification.
You can say, could you give me an example of what you mean?
Give me an example.
Or, how would you suggest I approach this differently next time?
How could I approach this differently?
Asking those clarifying questions shows that you're taking the feedback seriously.
You're taking it seriously.
And that you're committed to learning from it.
Committed to learning.
And remember, feedback is a two-way street.
Two-way street.
Don't hesitate to share your perspective.
Share your perspective.
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
It's a collaborative process.
Collaborative.
The goal is to understand each other's perspective.
Understand each other.
And find a way to move forward together.
Move forward together.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've talked about essential IT vocabulary, strategies for explaining complex technical concepts,
Right.
the importance of active listening,
Active listening.
and how to give and receive feedback effectively.
Effectively.
It's amazing how much we rely on communication in the IT world,
It's amazing.
from troubleshooting those technical issues
Troubleshooting.
to collaborating on projects,
Collaboration.
building relationships with clients.
Building relationships.
And by mastering these communication skills, you can really set yourself apart
You can.
as an IT professional.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what are some key takeaways that our listeners can apply to their own communication
To their own communication.
in the IT world?
Well, first and foremost, remember that clear communication
Yes.
is the foundation of success in IT.
The foundation, yeah.
It's not just about being technically proficient.
Right.
It's about being able to convey your ideas effectively,
Yeah.
connect with others on a human level.
On a human level, that's so important.
So important.
And we've talked about some practical strategies for doing that,
We have
like using analogies to explain those complex concepts,
analogies,
breaking down information into smaller chunks,
smaller chunks,
actively listening to others,
active listening,
giving and receiving feedback constructively.
constructively.
It's also important to be mindful of your communication style,
Communication style, yes.
especially when you're interacting with people
Right.
from different cultures or backgrounds.
Your cultures, different backgrounds.
Yeah, what might be considered clear and direct in one culture
Uh-huh.
could be perceived as rude or aggressive in another.
Absolutely.
It's a global world.
Global world.
IT professionals often work with teams and clients from all over the globe.
All over the globe.
So being aware of those cultural nuances in communication
Yeah.
can make a huge difference in building those strong relationships
Strong relationship.
and avoiding misunderstandings.
Avoiding misunderstandings.
And as you gain more experience in the IT world,
Yes.
you'll continue to refine your communication skills.
They will.
It's an ongoing process
Ongoing process.
of learning and adapting.
Learning and adapting.
Sounds like mastering IT communication is a journey.
It is, yeah. It's an ongoing
It's
process.
not just a destination, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And sometimes
Yes.
it's the things we don't say
Oh, yeah.
that matter just as much as the things we do.
Absolutely.
Like our nonverbal communication,
nonverbal communication.
body language, all of that.
Huge nonverbal cues like body language, tone of voice, eye contact can speak volumes.
Yeah.
For example, if you're explaining something to a colleague
Uh-huh.
and they're avoiding eye contact or they have their arms crossed,
Okay.
it could be a sign that they're not engaged
Yeah.
or that they don't really understand what you're saying.
It's like a secret language we need to decode.
It is. It is a secret language. And the same goes for our own nonverbal communication.
So even if we're using all the right words,
Yeah.
our body language could be sending a different message.
Exactly. So it's important to be aware of those nonverbal cues.
Right.
Make sure they're aligned
Yeah.
with our verbal message.
So we want to project confidence, clarity, openness.
Confidence, clarity, openness, yes.
I'm thinking about those times when you're presenting technical information
Oh, yeah.
to a group.
Absolutely.
Being able to project that confidence through your body language
Yeah.
can make such a difference
It can make a huge difference.
in how your message is received.
It definitely can. Standing tall, making eye contact,
Uh-huh.
using hand gestures to emphasize key points.
I like it.
can help you command attention and
Yeah.
convey your message with authority.
And even small things like smiling, nodding,
Smiling, nodding.
can make you seem more approachable, engaging.
More approachable. Absolutely.
Now let's touch on another aspect of communication that's so important, especially in IT.
Okay.
Written communication.
The written communication.
Emails, reports, documentation, code comments.
All of it.
Clear and concise writing is essential,
Essential.
especially in a field where details matter so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about it. A misplaced comma in code
Yeah.
could have major consequences.
Major consequences, right?
And even in less technical writing,
Yeah.
clarity is key.
Clarity is key. Think about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever received an email
Yeah.
that was so poorly written that you had to read it like 5 times
All the time.
just to figure out what it was saying?
So frustrating.
It is frustrating. So when we're writing,
Yeah.
it's important to put ourselves in the reader's shoes.
Put yourself in their shoes.
Ask ourselves, is
Yeah.
this clear?
Yeah.
Is this concise?
Concise.
Is this easy to understand?
And sometimes
That says
less is more.
less is more.
It can be tempting to try to sound impressive by using big words, complex sentences,
Oh, yeah.
but that can actually make our writing harder to understand.
It can. I think we've all been guilty of that at some point.
Oh, for sure.
But it's usually better to stick to simple, straightforward language.
Simple, straightforward.
That gets the point across.
Don't forget about proofreading.
Proofreading,
Even a small typo can damage your credibility.
especially in professional communication.
Yeah, it's always worth taking those few extra minutes
Those few extra minutes.
to review your work before hitting send or submit.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about verbal communication,
Yes.
nonverbal communication, written communication.
All of it.
What are some final thoughts? Or words of wisdom that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I would encourage everyone to embrace communication as an ongoing learning process.
A journey.
It is a journey. Don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things, and to learn from your mistakes.
And remember, there are tons of resources available
Tons of resources.
to help you improve your communication skills, from books, online courses, workshops, coaching sessions, all of it.
All of it. And don't underestimate the power of practice.
Practice makes perfect, right?
It does. The more you communicate, the more confident and effective you'll become.
So keep those communication channels open.
Keep them open.
Keep practicing and keep learning.
Keep learning.
And remember, clear communication is a superpower
It is a superpower.
that can help you achieve amazing things in your IT career and beyond.
Absolutely.
Great advice. Well, that wraps up another deep dive.
It does.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights,
some valuable insights.
practical tips that you can apply to your own communication in the IT world.
If you'd like to explore these topics further, we've included some additional resources in the show notes.
Until next time, happy communicating.